Hello students, today I am going to discuss about how to make presentations for the final year project, because most of the students are coming from their third year, so they don't know about how to make their presentations and how to divide their presentations into the slides and what are the points they have to write it down, because you are not allowed to write each and everything on the slideshows now, and you cannot write lots of things on a single slide, and you have limited time as well, so you have to write down some things on the slides, and other things which you have to describe it, you have to tell in detail yourself, you have to present it, but you have to write some things which are very important. You can write it into the bullet in the form of bullets and points. You can write it on the slide, but it is not allowed to you that you are going to write the paragraphs, you are writing the whole topic, whole chapters on the slides, so it will not look good. And your slides should be very presentable. It attracts audiences, especially the audience which is your target audience. But when you are going to present your presentation in front of a jury, so it's not necessary that all of the jury is from your own department, or and their specialization is same in which you are doing your final year projects. So you should be careful regarding that, and that in this at that time you must present your presentation in the way that everyone should listen it, and they take interest in listening to you. So you have to create interest in the listener, and in this category, what you have to do, you have to make your presentation very good and very presentable, and it should be attractive, so it will gain attention from the public, so everyone want to listen to you, and everyone take interest in even in your subject, whether they have that subject or not, but or is they have studied that subject or not, but they should take interest in it. But it all depends upon you, how do you present, how well you are in the presentation, and how well your presentation slides are there. So how can you make your slides attractive? You are precise while making your presentations on PowerPoint. So I am going to discuss all these things here, because I have found so many students, they are struggling with making presentations, and they don't know how to make their presentations because they are not aware of it, and they don't have any experience in that. Mostly teachers said that you have to do it yourself. So I think we should guide the students how to make their presentations well, and how they make their presentations more attractive, and and that way they will be able to gain attention of the audience, especially not only the target audience and the audience which are not their target, but everyone should take interest in that. So what are the points which we have to consider while making our presentation well and attractive? So I will discuss over here. This is my own presentation which I have given in my masters. So it was my independent study project. I mostly discuss with my students that what I have done in my masters. So I did the my independent study project on finite element analysis of tractor trolley tires on bituminous bound macadam roads in Pakistan. This is basically the civil engineering research thesis, and it was also a conference paper as well. And I have done this project in especially in the pavement design. So how can we do it? But right now I am not interested to tell you how to do this final project. How can you do this research? I am most interested in this what I want to tell you is that the thing is that how can you make your presentation step by step and in a proper way. So this is the first slide, and which on this slide you have to add your title. So your title, whatever the title is, you have to write it down, and its size must be bigger. And I have taken a cartoon picture of tractor trolley, because my project or my research was on tractor trolley tires. So I have taken the picture of a cartoon picture of tractor trolley, so it will I think so it makes interest of an audience that what I want to do in it, and presented by, and you can write down if you are doing your project in a group, so you can write down your group members name, their roll numbers, their department, and also you should write down the names of the your supervisors as well now. So you will add these things in 2 slides, or you can do it in the 1 slide as well. It's up to you. So in the first slide you have to write down your title, and in the second slide you have to write down your group members names, their roll numbers, and the names of the supervisors as well, whether you have internal supervisors, so you have to write down the name of the internal supervisors, and if you hired any external supervisor for your final year project, so you can put the name of the external supervisor as well. So in the second slide, what you have to do, you have to write down the group members name, roll numbers, and your badge as well, and name of the supervisor, internal supervisor, so internal main supervisor, internal co-supervisor, and you have to write down the name of the external supervisor as well. But in this first slide you have to write down the title. So if you are writing down the title on the first page, so what you have to do, you have to give the picture of your project as well. You can take any picture related to your project from the Google or Chrome, whatever the browser you use it, you can display it on the back side of your title as well. But you must show that your title must be more visible as compared to the picture. So I am moving towards the next slide. So what I have taken, I wrote the table of contents here. What are the table of contents of my project presentation? So what are the project contents are here? There is introduction, then we have to write down the objectives and the scopes. So next one is the literature. You can write down literature work, or you can write down literature review here. And then you have methodology, then material properties. It depends, it completely depends upon the type of the project. Then you have to write down the results, conclusion, recommendations, and pictures. Okay, and after that you have to show the Gantt chart of your project as well. So how can you divide your Gantt chart? So I will tell you. For example, if you have a civil engineering project, so what you have to write down, so for the Gantt project you have to write down project proposal, preparation of the project proposal. Then what you have to write down, for example, material investigation, material selection, then material procurement. It completely depends upon your project type. So which type of project, which type of research you are doing, it's completely depend upon you. So for the topics for their steps for your Gantt chart will be a project proposal preparations, literature review work, material investigation, material selection, material procurement, material testing, or report writing. You can write it out down. So at the first step, you have to decide what will be the title of the project. Then you have to read different research papers on that, and you have to check it out what are the material properties you have required to do that research, and how they research on their project in that domain as well. You have to find it out first. Then you have to go for the site investigation. It depends upon you. For example, if you are going to do any kind of testing and you have to do into the laboratory, so you have to bring material for that. So what you have to do, and you have to say material investigation, material selection, then you have to say material procurement. And for example, if you are doing testing or anything on the site, so what you have to write down, site investigation, site selection, you can say. So it's up to you. And you can also write down, for example, if you are doing any kind of field work. I'm talking about related to civil engineering. For example, if you are doing any field work, so you can put in field work as well. You are writing your thesis report writing and all that, you will put it in it. So these are the table contents, and what I have discussed right it now, that will be the points of your Gantt chart. So how much time you have spent on the steps you have said, for example, project proposal writing, or preparation of project proposal, synopsis report, whatever you want, whatever the time duration you have spent on each and every task, you should put it. I will do another YouTube video as well, or other lecture I will record on it, for how to make Gantt chart as well, on especially on MS project. You can easily make it on Excel, but it doesn't look good when you are presenting your presentation. So it's very good if you will make your presentation Gantt chart on MS project. So these are the table of contents of your research, but it completely depends, it varies upon project to project, so it depends, but mostly these are the table of contents of any projects. So it's up to you, you can change it accordingly. So next, for example, I'm moving on the next slide. This is an introduction. You are looking at this as introductions. For example, I want to come back on it, and where do I want to come back? I want to come back on the picture. I don't want to show you slideshow right now. And what do I want to show you here? I want to change it to how to you can make it in the paragraph form. So for example, I am showing you here that this is in the paragraph format, but it is not in completely into the paragraph. These are in the bullet format, not in the paragraph form. You should not write any introduction in the paragraph form, because people will get bored from your presentation. You should write down the important points in the form of bullet. You can see this is the blue triangle, these are known as bullets. So you should show all the points in the paragraph format, and important points especially, not all the points of your introduction. You should write it down in this slide, and otherwise people will get bored from your presentation. So you don't want to make them bored, so you should have to make their interest more. So how can you make their interest? Yeah, by making it into the bullets form. So you can make your introduction like that. I am going to tell you is that, for example, look here, there is an introduction is given to you here, and I want to make it evenly distributed. It is not evenly distributed. So how can I make it evenly distributed? So I have to go into the home tab, and I will make it evenly distributed. And always keep it in mind, when you are writing an introduction, you should not write it into the paragraph format, because it will make the audience bored, and they will not take interest in listening to you. So you should write particular points, important points, which is relevant to your introduction, and which are very important to discuss in the presentation. So you should write down only particular main important points, and then you can describe those points clearly when you are speaking. So keep it in mind, you should not write down anything in the paragraph forms. You should write down in the tabular form, you should write into the bullet form, so it will take audience interest. So what I have to do, for example, we have already discussed table of contents, and now I am on the introduction side. So what you have to do, you have to write down into the bullet form. And how can you change the type or design of your bullet? So you can go here in the home tab, and you are looking at this. This is the bullet format. So you can take this bullet form, you can take this one, you can take this one, you look it, and it is getting changes. So you can also go for, you can do numbering as well. I think numbering doesn't sounds good, so we should go for the bullets. So how can you create the bullets? You should select this one. I think this will look far more better than anything. So you can write down full stop at the end of every point. So when you finish it, that's why you end it now. So what you have to do, you have to select the whole points, and you have to make it evenly distributed. Look, it will look nice. So you can do it like this. For example, I am moving towards another slide, and you can see that there are the introduction is in points. So 2 bullets were left. So what I have to do, I have to move on the next slide. But before moving to the next slide, and we were on the same topic, that is introduction. So what you have to do, you should write down the continued here, and you can also write down the continued with the introduction as well. So you can write down continued on the next slide. That it will make you feel that it will make or help to understand the audience that you are continuing your previous slide. So what you have to do, you have to write down the introduction here again, and you can write down the continued here. And if you don't want to write down the continue with the introduction, so you should write down the continue here. So what you have to do, you have to move on the next slide, and I am watching and I am looking here that the paragraph or bullet points are not evenly distributed. So distribute your text evenly between the margins. So you have to do it like this. So I've used software in it, so I have write down the name of the software here, and it is clearly visible to you, and you can highlight it as well by putting bold on it, and you can apply different color as well, so it will get more attractive to the audience and they will take more interest in it. So these are some different tricks that you can make your audience to be more interested in listening to you, in watching your slides as well. So for example, I am moving to the next slides, and there is a slide of objectives and scope. So what I have to do, one thing is that I can write objectives and scope on the top of the slide, and the next thing is that how can I show this and in another way. So I have to drop here and write down. I have to insert text. So I will insert text here. One more thing what I have to do, I should copy this, and I want to add a text box here. So I can divide both the text. So I will paste it here. So I should delete this one, and I'm going back. So what I have done here, so I will reduce its size and I will bring it here. So I can write down the heading as well. So scope. It's completely up to you. And what I am going to do here, I will put this objective here. And keep it in mind, you have to take the same size of the objectives heading and same size for the scope as well. So one more thing you can do as well, you can copy this and paste it here. So you don't need to write down a scope here, and you can put what if you want to add bullets and numbering here, and you don't want to take this side, you want to take this one. So you can do it like this, and I will bring this down, and this will be like this. So I will write down scope here. So this will be helpful for you to understand how can you make your final year project presentation. This is the scope, and always keep it in mind, there is a small line differences between the objectives and the scope. So always make it clear to all of you. So what is the difference between the two? The objective is what are you going to do in that project or in that research, which you are going to share with the audience, or going to present in front of the audience or the jury. Means jury is your teacher, or is your supervisor, co-supervisor, and obviously head of the department, or final year project coordinator, whatever. And there may be some externals as well. And what is the scope? The limitation is that which you do not consider in the present research, and you want to consider it into the next research. So that is your scope. So for example, you have to discuss your particular scope includes comparison of the effects of the tire size on a paving using results from FEM program and finite element modeling program, and is limited to only one type of vehicle. We are discussing only one type vehicle. We are not doing more than one type vehicle. So it is your limitation. So you have to describe your scope and objective in your research paper. So obviously you have to present it in front of the jury as well. So this is the way you can do it. So now I am moving back, and where I am going to move back, so for example, I want to reduce its size, and I'm going to the slideshow, and this is current slideshow. So this is my slideshow. Let me share it again. So I am moving to the slideshow. Right now, what you have to do, you have to write your introduction into the points, into the bullets. Then you have to divide, you have one slide for objectives and scopes. Now, this is the literature work. Look, there I have made a table here. How did I made the table? I read different research papers related to my own research. So I wrote the writer's name here. You can see Penn State, and when it was published in 1989, then Hutala et al. 1992, FHWA 1993. So I wrote the writer's name, research work, and in you can also add the title here as well, and the year as well. And then I have shown the comparison over here, white base tire, what they have taken it, and how much damage potentials occurred in their research paper. They have tested, and they have taken different tests and research over there. So what are the final answers which I am going to do it? So I have to show this into the tabular form. In that way, you do not lose the attention of your audiences. So there, you should not write the paragraph. For example, if you read one research paper and then you are writing the conclusion part or the recommendation part of the whole research paper, it's not a way. So what you have to do, you have to just write down in a single line, or you can write it down into the bullets form, but you should not write in the paragraph form. And you obviously you read for example, if you are going to give a mid-year presentation, so you want to show only 3, 4 or 5 research papers, and but in the final research final year presentation, so you are going to show that you read 6 papers. So they will ask you what you have, what they have done, what they tested, what they were, what the conclusion of those research papers, what did you concluded. So what is the summary of that research paper, what are the techniques they follow. So you should tell in the summarized form, because you don't have lot of time. You every presenter get only 5 to 10 minutes hardly. So you are not allowed to speak so much. So there is also question answer session, so they can ask you that if you read this paper, so what was happened in that paper, what the research they have done, in what way they did it, what which sites they selected, where that research has happened. So there were so many questions they will ask you, but you have to read all the paper completely. You should not left it any paragraph of that paper, but you have to summarize it into the tabular, or maybe into the bullet form, and it should be very precise that audiences will not get bored. They you can continue their attention while you are presenting. So presentation should be more attractive. So it is attractive, and your style of presentation should be good, so it will make your audience to continue their interest, and they want to listen to you. So in that way you can write down your literature review work in your presentation. So there must be only one slide for the literature review work. So I am moving towards the next slide, and this is the methodology. It's up to you. If you have done, for example, in this research paper, I have done all the work on the software. If you have done all the work in the lab, so whatever you have done in the laboratory, you have to write down in the points format, bullet format. you have to chalk down that what you have done first, then second, then third, then fourth. So you have to write down in the line wise. So you have but when you are going to describe it, you can describe it more, but you should write down the methodology in the step wise. So you have to go it stepwise and properly chalk down what you have done in your research paper or in your research work. So you should write down the methodology into the bullet format. For example, it is continued on the next slide. So you can write down continue at the end of this first slide, and you can also write down continued with the methodology as well, which I have told you earlier as well. So this last line you can read this, that submit job analyzer. What we I have submitted the job on the Abacus software, and then I analyze the result. So I just write it down that I have submit job and analyze the result. So these are the ways you can describe your methodology in steps. How methods, how have you done your project, what are the steps you follow, why did you follow these steps. You should describe it in the methodology, but it should be the into the stepwise, and it is into the bullet format. For example, I'm moving to the next. For example, what are the material properties? While I was doing this research, so I put it into the tabular form. If whatever the values you have taken, you can write it down, you can show it into the tabular form. So it will look good and it will be nice. It will help audience to make it understand easily. So you should be very careful that the audience is sitting in front of you, they don't know anything. You should describe each and everything to them. So you should be very precise, and it is whatever you are going to discuss it should be very understandable to the audience. So I want all of you, whenever you are going to describe your material properties, so it should be into the tabular form. So it will be helpful for the audience to make them understand. For example, now I'm moving towards the next slide. For example, what type of material I have taken, and what were the density, Young's modulus, and Poisson ratio of that materials. So I have also again shown in tabular form. Next slide. This is also tractor tire configuration. So I put it into the tabular form. It was not into the tabular form anywhere, so I make it myself. So now it is the model on Abacus. For example, if you are doing testing and you have done lab testing, so you should tell them what have you done on the testing, what are the ways, what are the methods you have followed. So you should do this. You should tell them. For example, I have done a simulation in the software. So what I have done, for example, I have shown here different pictures of the models which I have done here. Nowadays, students are doing actually this presentation I have done in the 2013. Nowadays, students are doing, for example, this you can see this tire. This tire was moving on this pavement road. So I have done this simulation. So there was a video also that this tire was moving on the road now, and you can see the stresses and strains on the particularly boxes. In the boxes you can see these are showing that how much stress and strain over there while these tires were this tire, which was a tractor trolley tire, moving on the road. So this is showing how much stress and strain is created on this pavement structure. So what you have to do, you can display different pictures. You can also show the video of that simulation as well. So this will attract your audience as well. They will provide you. In this picture, you can see different tires are moving. Tractor trolley tire are moving on the pavement structures, and you can see here what is happening here. There is, you can see the strain is creating on the pavement structure. So you can show this as well, and in the form of the video as well, because most of the softwares are showing different videos, structures, simulation as well. So you can also show this in your presentation. 2 minutes or 3 minutes. So what will happen after that, audience will take interest in it, want to see these videos, want to see this picture, and pictures must be colorful, so they will these pictures can attract your audience as well. For example, now I am moving towards the result. Bituminous found my flexible pavement. So these are the comparative analysis. These are the graphs which I have drawn on Excel sheet after taking values from the software. So then I have made this graph on Excel, and it is colorful as well. So you can easily see that how much stress is created in different stress is created on the pavement structure while when the tractor tire was moving, trailer wheel was moving, and steering wheel was moving. So these are some stresses created, and you can easily find out which have the highest stress generated. So these are the comparative analysis graphs which I have made on MS Excel. So you can see this, and this is clearly visible to the audience. I did not show this into the paragraph, into the tabular form, because graphs are more attractive, and they will show more comparison, and it is more visible to the audience, and they will attract the audience as well. So you should show, you should describe your results or comparative analysis or graphs in the presentations, and you have to discuss this. You don't need to tell them what values you get it. You have to show it into the graph. So I'm moving into the next slide. Then I have done the final comparison as well, and you can see the stress strain curves also is there of a tractor tire, trailer wheel, and steering wheel. So you can show this like this. You can take different colors, so it should be more attractive. Conclusion, and you can see I wrote conclusion into the bullets and points, so it will be easier for the audience to understand, jury to understand. They will clearly see that what conclusion you have drawn from your research. So you can show your conclusion from this slide, and if you are going to show your conclusion, so keep it in mind, it should be not into the paragraph format, it should be into the points. You can also show your conclusion if you are getting your value, so you can show it into the tabular form as well. So it's up to you, how do you want to attract your audience. So for example, I am moving into the next slide. There is recommendation, and you know very well what are the recommendation when you have done your research. So you want to tell the audience what you are going to recommend others after doing this research, because you are not experienced very much, but you are suggested. You suggest that if you are after doing this research, so this has to be done, but you have to suggest it. You are not going to recommend any other that because you are not at that stage, that you are not very well experienced, that you recommended that this has to be done, because every research have some pros and cons, and some values left behind. So what you have to do, you have to suggest this has to be done. So you are at the stage of suggestion, not in the stage of recommendation. So in recommendation, we mostly have to do what we have to suggest our consultants. For example, if you are a civil engineer, so you have to suggest builders, consultants, civil consultants, contractors. So you can suggest them what they have to do after doing this research. So now I have to show you what pictures of the tractor trolley. And if you are doing a laboratory test, so you have to show what are the when you have done different tests, so you have to show the pictures of the tests. So you have to describe different pictures of your laboratory test. For example, I have given different pictures of tractor trolley tires. Why I have done this, because why I have done this, because tractor trolley tires are using in Pakistan, and what are the impacts they are creating, what are the stresses and strains are creating on our roads, because our roads are not designed for tractor trolley wide base tires. So that's why we have discussed this, we have done this research paper. So you will show these pictures here of, if for example, if you have done any laboratory testing, so what you have to do, you have to take pictures while you're doing your test, doing your research, and you have to add your pictures in your slides. Then it will make or it will help to make sure that your audience or jury, that you have done those tests yourself. Because they are not there at the time of the test, so how can you prove it? You can prove it while you show your pictures of testing. At the time of testing, you were there, how did you test it? So you can also show the video of 2-3 minutes as well while you were doing tests. So these are the ways you can say. Now there must be the question answer slide at this slide here. If the jury want to ask any question, so you should go for this slide as well. This slide should also be very attractive, and then you have to show the slide of thank you for attention as well. Keep it in mind, one more thing is that you can add you can make your presentation more attractive by adding different cartoon pictures related to the civil engineering, related to your project. For example, in methodology, you can see that there is for example, there is a huge space for me that I can add different pictures. So I can add a picture here as well. So I will put picture on this methodology, for example, any picture related to my methodology, related to my test. So you can put different pictures as well, and it's up to you, whatever the designs slide, whatever the type of the slide and design animation you want to use it, so you can use it in your presentation. So it will make more attractive, and it will help you to attain marks in final year project. I think maybe I am able to tell you how to make your presentation. Obviously, or hopefully you will be able to make your presentation more attractive after watching this video, and it will help you how to make your presentation step by step related to your research work, because this is the era of research work. So you have to understand how to make your research more attractive, and you can get, how can you get your research work more attention as well from the audience. So these are the some ways and tricks to make your presentation more attractive. And that's all for today.